tornado in spots, low of 52. Still warm tomorrow, 67 for a high, windy with intervals of sun and clouds. Right now, it is 47 degrees in St. Peters, 50 in Florissant. We've got 48 downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
This is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
All right, let's get right to it. Yesterday was one of the great sports days this city has had, and I do believe an even better one is coming on Saturday as a result of what we saw last night. Tom Ackerman indeed with you. We have so much to get to. The Cardinals played their first spring training game. The Blues played yesterday downtown. The Billikens played at Chaffetz Arena. Mizzou played in Athens, Georgia. You had so much happening all at once. A lot of action to get to, but we cannot begin the show without taking you down a little journey in Austin, Texas, on our sister station down the hall, Y98 FM. I present to you St. Louis City SC. Enjoy.
Let the 2023 MLS season begin for St. Louis City SC.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's inaugural match against Austin FC.
Now Leuven, second corner of the night, opposite side of beauty, a laser. Oh, baby! Our city, our spirit, our first.
Here's an over-the-top ball to Driussi. Left foot floats one, and it's in the back of the cage. Tie game. Shot by Gallagher off the far post and in. Austin FC takes a 2-1 advantage.
Huge giveaway. In deep. Goal! Jared Stroud! Klaus down the right side of the box. Cuts it back toward the middle. Oh! 3-2 St. Louis City.
Close to a minute left in stoppage time. A flick on. Cross it here. Oh, failed bar exam. Luckily, a header went off the bar, and now the whistle blows. St. Louis City SC victorious. 3-2, a historic night.
This has been 90 and 60. St. Louis City SC hosts Charlotte Saturday night at City Park. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 on Y98 St. Louis.
It was an amazing time. I mean, if you really think about what we're talking about here, it's a franchise that starts its first season ever in MLS, and we had to wait 3+ years for it. They started in August of 2019 with the announcement from Don Garber, the commissioner of Major League Soccer, that St. Louis was going to land this franchise. And here we are in 2023, and all they hear from the outside, not from St. Louis necessarily, but from the outside, is the fact that it's an expansion team and it's not going to do well, and they don't have the talent, and they're going to have to wait and wait and wait. They go into Austin, the number 2 team in the Western Conference last year, and beat them. Final 3-2 in front of a raucous crowd down there. That is a remarkable achievement, and it's just game 1. Game 2 is at City Park in downtown West. And if it wasn't going to be wild downtown on Saturday, March 4th, this will take it to another level. The tickets are very hard to obtain. The tickets will be sold out. The tickets will be filled with crazies and casual observers and business leaders and young and old. And it's going to be a lot of fun. What you're experiencing right now, you'll be talking about for years. You were there when it all started, MLS. Now they'll have to sustain it. But game 1 is as good as they could have possibly imagined. That's a great win for a franchise. By the way, on the call there, Joey Zanaboni, and we will continue to play some of those calls as we go along this morning, along with Dale Schilly. That's fun. That is a lot of fun. That's Y98 FM, the home of St. Louis City SC Soccer, and KMOX will have programming throughout the season. Lutz Pfannenstiel, who will not be able to join us because of travel today, will regularly join us on Sports on a Sunday morning. He's the sporting director. I'd say that he's probably the most relieved of all. He's the one who's been planning this for 2+ years. This roster, this staff, this execution, this style. Had it in his head, put it on paper, and got it done. They won the game 3-2 over Austin. That is a remarkable achievement, and everybody associated with that franchise should be very proud of how far they've come, and they get a win. We'll have some fun with that coming up on March 4th. The Cardinals played yesterday. They took on the Washington Nationals at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium in beautiful Jupiter, Florida, and Adam Wainwright was on the mound.
He advanced on a ground out and scored on a looping single, but the runner going on 3-2, a swing and a miss. Yadiel Hernandez strikes out.
Adam Wainwright in the second inning.
The runners go, and the pitch is taken for a high strike. Abrams thought he had a walk on 3-2 and takes strike 3, leaving 2 on.
Wainwright allows a run in 2 innings, and the Cardinals are down 1-0 in the third. This
next pitch is hit hard to right field by Donovan, and backing up is the right fielder over his head. Big fly, Brendan Donovan, and the Cardinals take the lead 2-1. Boy, he got a hold of that one.
Yeah, he's got some power. He doesn't have power numbers, but Brendan Donovan can get a hold of him, and he's just a great hitter. He doesn't strike out very often. He makes great contact. You could tell he saw something before that home run. He had a big swing earlier on a pitch. He tapped one foul on a pitch that was out of the zone. He just saw the pitcher well, and then he ripped that one out of the park, and the Cardinals had a 2-1 lead. And the Cardinals pitching was good from that point forward. Jake Woodford, he had 2 scoreless innings. Genesis Cabrera, you're going to really need to see him, I think, if you're the Cardinals. You want to be able to see some good production out of Genesis Cabrera, and he came out and pitched a scoreless inning, allowed a hit. Packy Naughton had a scoreless inning, and he's going to be starting some games, I think, down there for them. So everybody gets a little look here. Waino, Woodford, Cabrera, Naughton, Zach Thompson. He pitched a scoreless frame. Nail gave up a run in an inning. Whitley gave up a run to close it out, but the Nationals win it 3-2, but really what you're trying to see is some at-bats from some of your regulars. Paul Goldschmidt had a hit in this game. Nolan Arenado was 0 for 2, but he had some good contact. Speaking of good contact, Wilson Contreras hit a ball that went out to center and the wind caught it. Otherwise, that ball is gone, and I'm hearing that he hit an absolute bomb today in batting practice that went like 450, 460 feet. So it's nice to see Wilson Contreras in a Cardinals uniform behind the plate. Also behind the plate was CB Bucknor. What the heck is wrong with this guy? I mean, how do you go through a whole offseason and not shake Ollie Marmol's hand? What is wrong with you? I mean, come on, man. It's baseball. What did he do other than what every manager would ever say to an umpire is that you got the call wrong? And is it because he's young? And because it was his first year? Guy won a division. He knows the game. He knows baseball. CB's been around a long time. I mean, shake the guy's hand and move on. You don't have to agree. Now you've just made this thing linger on forever. What the heck is wrong with him? Jeez. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show as well. Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you what happened in college basketball yesterday. Mizzou stormed Georgia in the second half, and SLU looks good. They beat Loyola's not very good this year, but they beat Loyola, beat them soundly. They're starting to come around a little bit. There's a lot to get into in college hoops. We have a huge show today. Travis Ford at 10:30, John Mozeliak at 11:30, Chris Blair on NASCAR, Nick Ragone on golf, St. Louis City SC, St. Louis Battlehawks, St. Louis Blues. It's all wrapped up in one show right here. It is Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX, and it is sponsored by Gray Bar. Back after this.
Black History Month has officially begun. But if you're looking for uplifting Black stories year-round, check out my podcast, Beyond Black History Month. I'm Famie Redwood, and with this year being the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, there will be lots of stories with all the icons.
Hip-hop was something that was just the most creative thing ever because it was just born really out of nothing.
Listen and subscribe to Beyond Black History Month on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts from.
They say money can't buy happiness, but yes, it does. If you find $5 on the sidewalk, you're pretty happy. Now imagine that happening all the time. With the Upside app, you find cash in places you never expected. Restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, all the places you go, there's cash back waiting for you to find it. Will Upside solve all your problems? We can't promise that. But it will give you a little something extra so you can treat yourself. And there's nothing like a few unexpected bucks to brighten your day. That's life on the Upside. Download it today. Get the free Upside app and use promo code GOODLIFE for an extra $10 cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code GOODLIFE for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Start living life on the Upside with the free Upside app.
Now, a Cardinals spring training report from Jupiter, Florida, and the TR Hughes Homes Broadcast Center.
One spring training game down, and we already have a controversy involving an umpire. The Cardinals played the Nationals yesterday afternoon to open Grapefruit League play, and during the pregame exchange of lineup cards, manager Oliver Marmol extends his hand to umpire CB Bucknor, but Bucknor refuses to shake Marmol's hand. This is connected to an altercation Marmol and Bucknor had in a game last year. Marmol did shake the hands of the other three umpires, including Angel Hernandez, and reportedly the other umpires apologized for Bucknor's behavior. After the game, Marmol accuses Bucknor of having no class and also said that he did not think Bucknor is very good at his job. In the actual game, the Cardinals lose to the Nationals 3-2. Brendan Donovan hits a home run. Adam Wainwright gives up 1 run in 2 innings. Game 2 of the spring for the Cardinals is this afternoon against the Marlins. Miles Michaelis will start. Our coverage begins at 11:55 this morning with first pitch scheduled for 12:05. This spring training report is brought to you by Norm's Bargain Barn and Wilkie Window and Door. From the TR Hughes Homes Broadcast Center in Jupiter, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba. If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to help uncover the next breakthrough by sharing your patient data and unique experience with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
I am proud to be a part of that group.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients in this movement at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broke and it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They'll be here quick and have you feeling good. JerryKelly.com. Cause your furnace will be running like it should. They're certified technicians, I've been told. Will help you when it's hot and help you when it's cold. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Well, we're having fun here, that's for sure. A lot going on in sports, including St. Louis City SC. We heard the highlight package at the start of the show, getting themselves a victory at Austin, 3-2. That is big-time stuff. And the fact that the Cardinals played their first game, that happened yesterday, and we just heard some of the highlights of that and recapped a bit of that. We heard Matt Pauley with his report as well, and we took a couple of pokes at CB Bucknor, who is just ridiculous, Drew. Grow up. Yeah. I mean, it's baseball, and it's just being a human being and moving on. I mean, don't we have disagreements in business and in life? You just move on, man.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Manny Machado, an 11-year extension. 11-year extension today with San Diego Padres. It's been widely reported. I believe Jeff Passan was the first to get it out there from ESPN. 11 years, $350 million for Machado. Now, he's great. He's a great player, no doubt. Number 2 in the MVP voting. Number 1 was Goldschmidt. Number 3 was Arenado. And Machado was right there. Excellent player. He's only 30 years old. So he'll be 41 when this deal expires. But, hey, the Padres are just throwing around money, man. They're just writing checks. They're in. I mean, they are aggressive and a medium-sized market, just super aggressive. They want to leave nothing out there. They still have to pay Juan Soto. They haven't paid him yet. That is remarkable. Darren Drager of TSN is reporting that Ivan Barbashev has been traded to the Vegas Golden Knights for a prospect. So we'll follow up on that. But the trade deadline is Friday, and they've already dealt Vladimir Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly, and now Barbie going to Vegas. The Blues lost 3-2 to the Penguins. We'll get into our Blues breakdown coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, but it is tough to see the Blues losing games. And I know that was a close game yesterday and they lost in overtime, but man, they were just outshot from the get-go by the Penguins. I know some of those players are really working to rally back. Some others are, punching back at whatever Craig Berube said about them. Just, get out there and play, and let's finish this season strong and then see what the Blues are doing about rebuilding themselves, because clearly they're in a rebuild. Now, St. Louis City SC, St. Louis Cardinals, I present to you our other partner at Odyssey St. Louis, KMOX Radio, the St. Louis Billikens.
Now to Perkins. Out on the wing, left side. Can't penetrate. Double team comes. Now they back off. Hughes gives it on the right side for Hargrove on the dribble. TJ to the left block on a hard dribble. Then kicks it out to Jimerson. He wants an NBA three. Bang! He got it.
Jalen Quinn kind of had his hands down, and Gibson looked at him and said, really?
He's a special talent. Gibson Jimerson. Billikens up 26-18 on that three. They go up 15 on a three by Larry Hughes Jr. And then
being guarded by Kennedy at 6'1". Hughes gives it to Jimerson. 4, 3, 2, leans 3. Bang! He got it! A man all over him, hanging on him. They throw it the length of the floor, and it's into the stands. What a shot.
He just needed a look. He just head and ball fakes that time, got him off the feet just so he can get a nice look at the basket. He's got 3-4 inches on the defender, knocks it down. Gibson after a slow start, 12 points, including the last 6.
Gibson Jimerson, he did get off to a slow start, and then he lit it up and then continued his hot stretch with a game-high 21 points. Billikens were up 16 at the half. That game was over at that point. They won it by 19, 81-62 over Loyola. Billikens now 19-10 overall, 11-5 in the Atlantic 10. They keep pace in the A10 for a chance at a top 4 seed. They're in a 3-way tie for second place. So they are literally in the top 4, but there are a lot of teams pushing their way into position here. They've got to get that double bye if they want to win this A10. So they're in a 3-way tie for second. The top 4 get the double bye. 2 games to go. The Billikens beat Loyola. Final score 81-62. Jimerson has scored 20 points in 5 of the Billikens' last 7 games. Also yesterday, the Missouri Tigers won 85-63 over Georgia and actually trailed by a point in this game at halftime. Then they came roaring back. And it's not just the Tigers' ability to shoot the basketball, but they play defense. When they really lock it down, they allowed 22 points in the second half, 22 to Georgia, and held them to 41% shooting for the game, 34% shooting from 3, and Mizzou was off the charts from 3. They hit 14 of 28, 50% from beyond the arc, 58% from the floor. That's going to win you games. And they win at 85-63 over Georgia. Hats off to Lindenwood University. Lindenwood beats Arkansas Little Rock on a last-second 3 in overtime, 97-96. And they do it at home. And with that, they are in Evansville for the OVC tournament. In their first year in the Ohio Valley Conference, the Lindenwood Lions are going to the postseason. That's pretty cool. SIUE beat Southeast Missouri State 93-78. That's a significant win, as SIUE had been struggling a little bit. They should win that game at home, and they did. So the Ohio Valley Conference standings are pretty interesting right now, with Morehead State leading the way. But you got a bunch of teams bunched together: Tennessee Tech, Tennessee Martin, Tennessee State, Southeast Missouri State, all with winning records. SIUE and USI checked in with 9-9 records in the conference. Let's look at the Missouri Valley Conference while we're at it real quick. Drake and Bradley are tied at the top with 15-4 records. You got 3 teams at 13-6, Southern Illinois, Belmont, and Indiana State. And Missouri State has a record of 11-8. Those are the top 6 out of 12. Murray State is 10-9. Northern Iowa's 9-10. The bottom 4 are Valpo, Illinois State, UIC, and Evansville. They'll all be playing Thursday. Nobody wants to play on Thursday. So if you're a top 4 in the Valley, you don't play on Thursday, and that's really going to help you win the tournament if you only have to play Friday, Saturday, and the championship on Sunday. Winner of this tournament goes to the NCAA tournament. That's all the Valley's going to get. It's all the Ohio Valley's going to get, too. So it's a one-bid league, and that makes things really, really tough. Same thing in the Atlantic 10. One team's going to get in. One. And SLU is going to try to make sure that they are that team. Top 25 college basketball. The number one team in the nation is Houston, and they won yesterday. They took care of East Carolina 76-57. Number two team in the country is Alabama. They hung on, beat Arkansas at home 86-83. Number three is Kansas. Kansas had a tough time against West Virginia, but found a way to win it at home 76-74. Elsewhere, you look at the top 25. Let's just poke around a little bit, shall we? Number 4, UCLA. They are awfully talented. UCLA Bruins have a share of the Pac-12 title. They won their game. That happened a little bit earlier as they pick up a win. That happened earlier in the weekend. And number 5, Purdue loses at home to Indiana. Final there, 79-71. 17th ranked Hoosiers sweep the season series against Purdue. They go in, they get Jalen Hood-Schifino scoring 35 points. That's a career high for him. That's an unbelievable amount for a freshman. He goes in as cool as can be in one of the toughest atmospheres in college basketball and wins that game for Indiana by 8. Elsewhere in the top 10, I thought it was just a wild day. Arizona State hit a shot from 3/4 length of the court to beat Arizona, 89-88. Arizona's the 7th-ranked team in the country. Number 9 Baylor beat number 8 Texas, 81-72. Another good game was North Carolina. They needed a quad 1 win, and they got it over number 6 Virginia, 71-63. 10th ranked Marquette is very good. They are going to be a team that I think a lot of people will sleep on going into the tournament. Watch out for them. They beat DePaul 90-84. That's top 10 college basketball for you. We will take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we will hear from Travis Ford, the head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. This is the Gray Bar, Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX.
It is not officially spring, but I know you're thinking about it. This is Debbie Monterey, and start planning ahead now for spring, summer, fall, year-round entertainment by calling Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is celebrating its 55th year in the business, and they have a string of happy customers, thousands of happy customers like me, who understand that Chesterfield Fence and Deck does only quality work that they stand behind, and that's how you stay in business for 55 years. So whether you're looking for a fence or a deck, maybe you want a custom sunroom or a screen room or a pergola, whatever it is in your outdoor space, Chesterfield Fence and Deck can help. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterey, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. Stop by Chesterfield Fence and Deck in the Chesterfield Valley, or they'll come to you. Just go to chesterfieldfence.com for all the information. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best.
They're ready.
I'm Paul DeYoung. I'm Tommy Edmond. I'm Wilson Contreras. I'm Adam Wainwright.
It's Cardinal spring training baseball today as they take on the Marlins. Cameron pregame show 12 noon. First pitch 12:10. Hear the game here.
I'm ready to play.
KMOX is Cardinals Radio. KMOX at your service weekend. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Royal Banks of Missouri is your community bank, with locations throughout St. Louis, St. Charles, Northeast Missouri, Granite City, and Jerseyville, Illinois. A bank branch is not far away. Royal Banks brings in experienced staff and products and services designed to meet your professional and personal financial needs. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal opportunity lender. Looking for a new home or to refinance your current mortgage? Royal Banks of Missouri wants to be your home buying partner. With a local staff that will guide you through the process, Royal Banks is an experienced mortgage lender that you can trust. There's still time to lock in on a low rate. Call 314-212-1500 today. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal opportunity lender.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month honoring Black icons.
We salute Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is a talk show host, television producer, author, and philanthropist. Oprah is the reigning queen of talk, hosting The Oprah Winfrey Show for 25 years. In 2008, she launched the OWN television network. Oprah has received numerous awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
KingMOX, celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KingMOX.com.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
Websites and social media selling fake medicines may look legitimate, but they're not.
He died in less than 15 minutes after taking the pill.
Any medication not purchased from a licensed pharmacy could be deadly.
No other family should go through this. This is horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Learn about fake medicine on social media and if an online pharmacy is safe.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Use the screw twice, weaves through traffic, high off the window, wouldn't go. Rebound, Okoro battles, knocked away, loose in the midcourt, Collins runs it down. Yuri, cross court, Jimerson free. Bang, he got it! Oh, doctor!
Yeah, he's sitting over there in the corner, and you're just wait a second. Let me get control, and zips to the cross court and gets in with 17.
As the Bills will dribble it out, 81-62. Final score as the Billikens win their 19th game of the year and keep pace with those of the top 4 or 5, depending on what Dayton does, maybe even gaining ground.
The Billikens win it 81-62 over Loyola. The sweet sound of Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. with the call on KMOX. And I know that's music to the ears of our next guest. He is the head coach at St. Louis University. And our Billikens report with Travis Ford. Our interview with him is sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing good, Tom. Good morning. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it right there. He said that depending on what Dayton did, they were going to keep an eye on the standings. As it turns out, George Mason beat Dayton yesterday, 74-69. We open up the standings this morning, and the Billikens are in a three-way tie for second place in the league. They are 11-5. So are Dayton and Fordham. VCU, the team you're going to play on Tuesdays, 13-3. Why is that so significant? Because the top 4 teams get a double bye in the A-10 tournament. That's a nice reward, isn't it, for all the hard work?
It is. It is. It's, at this point, we just got to figure out next game one at a time, not really worry about that next. But it's always nice to get the double bye, for standing purposes. And, obviously going into the A-10 tournament, there's not going to be any probably at larges in our league at this point. So you got to go there and got to figure out how to win it. And having to only take 3 games is probably a little bit easier than 4. But I tell you what they have done though, Tom, that a lot of people don't realize. They put a break in the middle of the tournament. So even if you have to play 4, you get 2 games, then you get a day off. They've done that, which is they've never ever done. I think the break is on like Thursday or Friday where there's no games and they put a break in there, but you still want to get that double bye, no doubt, just because you want to win games, period. You want to win games, and that's what it's all about, is trying to figure out how to win the next one and finish as high as you can. And, our league is ultra, ultra competitive, especially in the upper half. A lot of solid teams, solid teams. Obviously, VCU has kind of stood out, so far. But, there's a lot of teams vying to try to figure out how to finish at the top.
No doubt about it. Loyola has learned that it is a tough conference as they start out their first season in the league 3-13. They're going to improve as the years go by. Your team is, as I mentioned, 11-5. You're 19-10 overall. It's just never easy in this game. And yesterday in the first half, Yuri Collins gets in foul trouble. He plays 7 minutes, yet you're still able to get some flow on offense, weren't you?
Yeah, that's never a great scenario when Yuri gets an early foul draw. He got a foul in the first, I think the second defensive possession. He got his first one. And then we're already like, it takes a little bit of aggressiveness off. And then, 6-7 minutes later, he gets his second. Luckily, we had a little bit of a lead. It was kind of going back and forth at that time. So I take him out with his second and was really keeping an eye on the score, whether I wanted to bring him back or not. And then we started increasing it. Larry Hughes did a great job running the team. We really started, Gibson Jimerson really helped handle the ball, and he got a couple assists in that stretch. And we were able to go in at halftime up 16. And, that's always good to get out of the half when you're in foul trouble. But, we were coming off a really tough game emotionally, where you go into Richmond, and we all know Richmond and us has always played tough games over the last 3 years, almost a little bit of a smaller rivalry between us and Richmond. We go in there, and they're playing with a lot of emotion with their coaches out with health reasons. And we played actually really well. We played really well, especially offensively, and did some good things defensively, but they threw in 17 threes on us. And it was an emotional hit because we played well enough to win, and we had big leads, and they were banking threes in at the end of the shot clock, and it was just their night. So to be able to respond from that and go up 16 at half against a Loyola team that struggled to get wins, but they got, 3 guys that are in the starting lineup that was on an NCAA team last year. So I think that just shows this is never easy. This league is not easy. There's no guarantees, but they got a good team that, like you said, is going to really be good in the future.
Yeah, they play a certain style, and they will get there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. In fact, they were early in the half. They're up by 4. As you mentioned, your team just gets it done. Gibson Jimerson has just been on a tear here. He now has 20-plus in 5 of the last 7. We all know that he's the scorer for you from the outside, but he can also do it from the inside. But really, just his ability all over the floor and getting to the free throw line and knocking down his free throws. And on top of that, he dishes out 4 assists. He pulls down 6 boards. He's become a good defensive player for you, too.
Yeah, Tom, you make a great point. Because everybody, when the first thing you say about Gibson Jimerson, you think of his threes, and rightfully so. But he's really driving the ball really well right now. He's curling screens really well right now. He's finding other ways to score, moving without the ball. Then he gets 4 assists, 0 turnovers, 6 rebounds, and then he played a really good game defensively. It was a complete game for him, and that's what we need from everybody. You don't maybe have to go out and score 20 every night for some other guys, but we need guys, contributing, rebounding. We need them contributing defensively. There's a lot of aspects of basketball. It's not football where you just play one side. There's a lot of aspects that you can contribute in the game of basketball on the court, whether it be screening, passing, cutting, blocking out, talking. There's a lot of ways to contribute, and we've got to get everybody contributing in that manner.
At some point, you start to realize, if you're a Jimerson or anybody else, that I only have so many games left in this uniform. And at some point, that kicks in, too. Not that he wasn't giving you everything he had before that, but I'm sure that's also in his mind.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, we've got some older guys on our team, and, there's a lot of emotions start going into it. I've dealt with this for 26 years as a college coach, head coach. You always start realizing guys that are seniors, when it starts getting close, they start wondering what's next. And, we want them to live in the moment at this point, live in the moment. All that stuff is going to come later, whatever is next. But live in the moment, take each game and enjoy trying to be the best you can today. And I think Gibson's doing a pretty good job of that right now.
Without a doubt. So you get yourselves a victory, the win over Loyola. Final one is 81-62, and so many things you could point to. And by the way, Jake Forrester, who does he think he is? He pulls up from 3, knocks it down too.
just the way we drew it up, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the unexpected stuff is fun.
I said it was about time something kind of went our way, because those are the shots that have been going in against us in regulation, and when games are tight, those are the shots that look like at Richmond when guys were banking them in from the top of the key with 1 second to go on the shot clock. But that was no, yeah, that's not our first option.
Right. You got to have some fun, and that was good to see. Now you take on VCU, and we all know how good they are. We saw you play them. You lost it by 8. It was a very competitive game, a late-night game at Chaffetz Arena back on February 3rd. Now here you are at the end of February, and you get them again. What can you tell us about VCU?
Yeah, obviously I've been watching that game late, last night and again this morning, trying to study our first game. We actually did a lot of really good things. Got up 8 early in the game and did some really good stuff. But then we couldn't sustain. Their point guard got 37 on us, and it was tough shots. He earned them. I mean, he's a quick point guard, and it wasn't like they were layups. They were pull-up jumpers, which is supposed to be the toughest shot in college, in all of basketball. A lot of pull-up jumpers on, shooting over hands and, pulling up from deep from 3. And, we were doing a pretty good job, but we just couldn't, he just literally led them to victory. But they're playing actually better right now, especially, the other players on their team are playing much better. A guy named Nunn on the wing is playing much better. Their team is playing better. So, yeah, we're, we've got a great challenge ahead of us. We know, VCU, they sell out every game, things like that. They're still trying to figure out how they can win the league. We still have a chance. We go in there and start playing and able to get a victory. You never know what can happen. So we're both sitting at the top of the league, near the top, and should be a good game, hopefully.
And then you have one more home game, and you and I won't talk until that one's over too. So I thought maybe we could throw that out there, that on Friday night at 6, you're going to be playing Dayton at Chaffetz Arena. I know we go one game at a time here, but what an emotional night that'll be in a lot of different ways. Always is your final regular season game, and saying goodbye to the seniors. And this is a fan base that has shown up for you. They have tried to get in there and give it all they have, and you'll get to see them one more time. I'm sure you'd encourage them to get in the house on Friday night for a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah, they've been there every night. We've had great crowd, incredible crowd. I think it might even have been a sellout again last night. We've had several fans have been tremendous, come and supporting the guys, and really means a lot. And, I think they enjoy how hard our guys play. Hadn't gone perfect every night, but our guys, they've played hard. And giving it up as well. But we greatly appreciate it. It means a lot. There's great support here. And I know it's probably going to be another sellout come Friday night from what I'm hearing. It's going to be a great crowd. But if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I'm sure there's a few available. So try to go get them. It's a fun Friday night game. We've had some great battles with Dayton, especially here. Some great games. So, yeah, we hopefully can get another great crowd, and hopefully it makes a difference.
If I may offer a suggestion, those crazy soccer fans that are going to be in town for the home opener at City Park the next day, March 4th, if you're looking for something to do on a Friday night, I know you'll be staying at a hotel right there. I mean, everyone's going to be right there. You might as well come on over. They serve beer at those games, at the SLU games.
Exactly right. Yeah. You can come and have some fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, they'll take you.
Scream loud, and then go start Major League Soccer off the right way the next day. That's right.
That's right. Good luck with all of it, and congratulations on the win yesterday over Loyola, Travis Ford. We appreciate you as always.
Oh, Tom, I really, really appreciate it, and appreciate all the support and all that you guys have done. And want to give a shout out to the women's basketball team. Rebecca and her team headed to the A10 tournament, 3 seed. Really, obviously playing their best basketball of the year right now, and I think some good things are going to get ready to happen for them. They're playing really, really good basketball. So want to wish them all the best as well.
No, I'm sure they heard that and appreciate that. I know that's the case. They have really been something. Tomorrow I will host the coaches show with Rebecca Tillett and players, as you'll be traveling, and Bob Ramsey will be traveling to VCU. So I'm looking forward to that, and it has been something being with them this year. What a remarkable run they've been on. You could just see it coming. And Rebecca Tillett in the program, as Coach mentioned, they're number 3 seed in the A10 championship. And by the way, a double bye for just the 3rd time since SLU joined the league in 2005. What a first year she's had. Coach, thank you very much for the visit. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate it.
Travis Ford with us on KMOX. We will take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll be joined by the general manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway, Chris Blair, as NASCAR season is underway and a race coming to St. Louis in just 3 months. Back after this.
Following the Dave Glover Show at 5 o'clock, it's Total Information PM. Hey, I'm Michael Calhoun. Check in with Kevin Wheeler and me for the latest news and information. Roger covers your commute. Dave Murray's got the forecast. Matt Pauley has sports. We'll take deep dives on local issues and help you be a smarter consumer. At 5:30, the CBS Evening News helps you understand what's happening around the country and the world. Total Information PM at 5 o'clock, right after Dave Glover on the trusted voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Gary LaVox from Rascal Flatts. You know, music has always been a huge part of my life. It's something that I started pursuing as a kid and never gave up on. It took a lot of hard work and dedication, but it paid off. Music has allowed me to travel around the world and to meet a lot of interesting people. So don't let anybody tell you that your dreams aren't possible, because they are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Give your sweetheart an experience rather than a gift, like a night out for dinner or a couple's massage. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
There's a notion that powerful corporations hire only the best and brightest lawyers, and it's true. At Underlaw, we've taken on some of the world's largest corporations. We've sat across the table and won. That's why when you're hurt, not just any lawyer will do. Together with our brave clients, we're holding these companies accountable. I'm Jim Onder. At Underlaw, we're making a difference, one case at a time.
Call Onderlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9 That's 9 all zeros.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Will Smith swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. Joining us is a regular guest on this program throughout NASCAR season and IndyCar season, shall I add. And for my role as a partner with Worldwide Technology Raceway, I'm proud to be working with Curtis Francois, the owner of the track, and our guest right now, the general manager. And that is Chris Blair. Chris, always great to have you on KMOX. How are you?
Hey, I'm great, Tom. Always a pleasure.
It's great to be with you. So we got to spend a little time together this past week at the Bogey Club. What a nice little gathering of folks. As David Stewart, the founder of Worldwide Technology Raceway, hosted a party. He had some guests by the name of Jackie Joyner-Kersee and the one and only Richard Petty. The King was in the house once again. They were all sitting at the table together. Dave, the King, JJK, and a host of others in a gathering to promote the Enjoy Illinois 300 and beyond. That's pretty cool.
It was, and I've been in this business now as longer than I care to admit. I graduated from college 30 years ago, and I've worked professionally in racing ever since, and even before that. And, anytime Richard Petty walks in the room, there's something special, about that. You just kind of in awe. And every time I see Richard, I always thank him, because I said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have a job, because he pretty much created this industry and took it to the next level. And, so getting that time with him was fantastic. And it was just such a great evening. And for him to show the support and love that he has for the town and for our racetrack, that's one of those things, like a dream come true to see somebody of that stature really trying to help us advance what we're trying to do here in St. Louis.
Yeah, what you're trying to do is sell out another race, year number 2 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Year 1 went pretty well. What did you learn from year 1 as we move into year 2?
Well, that was one of those things. We took a lot of effort in gathering feedback from our race fans with fan surveys, not only before the event, but during the event and after the event. We were trying to figure out what we could do so we could always stay on top of it. Some of the things that we learned was that we needed more concessions. So we're doubling the number of points of sale for concessions. Wi-Fi connectivity was an issue. So we're definitely increasing that. Multi-million-dollar Wi-Fi upgrade. We've made a lot of enhancements and improvements to our camping, and then just trying to do more. We were very successful. All the fans that we talked to loved all the extra entertainment that we had going on with the Confluence Music Festival, plus the stuff we did with Kenny Wallace and all the guys out there on the Midway. So we're trying to crank that up another notch this year as well. So we've learned from a few little things that we knew we'd have some growing pains on that first year, but we did pretty well based on everything we've been told from the NASCAR folks. And we're just trying to continue to improve and grow and do some things that other tracks aren't doing.
You have a great champion in Joey Logano. I think that helps a lot. By the way, darn near won the Daytona 500. I mean, he got beat by a nose by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on that caution. It was when the caution button was pushed that they made the determination that Stenhouse won it, but Logano almost won it. That's going to be fun. And it's Kevin Harvick's last go-around. I know he has a lot of connection to St. Louis.
Yeah, with Kevin, he's been a good ambassador for Busch Beer, and they're going to do a good send-off. We're working on some special things for him as well. It's kind of funny. Time yesterday, I was kind of crashed out on my couch and was watching the weather delay from California. They actually had snow at the track yesterday in Fontana. Crazy. And they came back up with a recap of the season, and they were showing the highlights of our race. And it was about a 3-minute highlight reel, and it really got me pumped up to see just how good that race was. And we went to overtime, and the Joey Logano, Kyle Busch shootout for the win was just absolutely incredible. And he kind of set the stage for everything Joey accomplished for the rest of the season. And, so I'm hoping we can build from that. It showed, people weren't really sure how our track would race with the new Cup car. And it really, that car is designed for our track when you really see how well they were able to run 3 and 4 abreast, and lots of beating and banging, and guys who were at the back were able to make their way to the front. So that's everything you would want in a race, and we had it.
Joey was very complimentary of your track and the entire atmosphere following that race and how everything was handled. So that's a great thing when you have a good champion like that who speaks very highly of you. Speaking of California, this is the last race, isn't it, at Fontana? They're not going to run here again. Why is that?
Well, what they're looking at is there were a lot of cookie cutter racetracks for many, many years where it was that traditional tri-oval shape of 1.5 miles. Fontana was a little more unique because it was a 2-mile oval. But NASCAR sees that there's a need for short track racing, additional short tracks. So what they're going to do out there at Fontana is take it down to a smaller size. The original plans called for a 1/2 mile. I think now they're talking like it's going to be closer to a 3/4 mile track. And they're going to be doing a lot of development around the facility as well. So it's going to be more of an entertainment district is the plan that they're going with. So, I hate to see that track go because it did produce some great racing once the track aged in and everything. But I think having another great short track on the schedule, especially in a market like that, should be fantastic.
I agree with you. I think that when you think of NASCAR, when most people think of NASCAR, they think of the South. They think of Daytona and Talladega and Bristol and all the history there. The Midwest, of course, we have a strong racing background throughout. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of driving going on in California. There's all across, not just NASCAR, but there's a lot of race fans in California, aren't there?
There are, and I used to live out on the West Coast, so I was very familiar with all those tracks up and down the coast. Unfortunately, California real estate has caused a lot of racetracks to go away. So I think this is a good move by NASCAR in preserving that short track racing heritage that they had out there on the West Coast for so long. They're looking, both dirt tracks and asphalt tracks were kind of going away. So this is a good step up, I think, for NASCAR because this is going to give the fans out there something they can't see anywhere else. Plus, now for that western core that they have, they'll have the road course at Sonoma. They'll be able to have a short track at Fontana, the 1 mile at Phoenix, and then Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a mile track at 1.5 miles. So now the southwestern United States pretty much have one of everything. So it's going to give some really good diversity for the fans to see, something special each time they go to a race.
This is Chris Blair, the general manager of Worldwide Technology Raceway. You mentioned Sonoma. They have NHRA as well, but you are the only facility that has NASCAR, IndyCar, and NHRA, and you'll roll all three out again here in 2023. I wanted to ask in our last couple minutes here about the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. The IndyCar race is back again. What can you tell us about that as you prep? Because as soon as NASCAR on June 4th is over, it's open wheel racing is in your mind.
Yeah, well, over at the Bogey Club on Tuesday evening, John Bommarito was there and Chuck Wallace from the group, and we were talking about what we're going to do to make this year's event special. And, we are adding the USAC Silver Crown cars to the Sunday format, so that's going to be really, really good. This year's race will be televised live on NBC. That's going to be great. We're going to get broadcast to a bigger audience than what we had last year. But we're looking at adding some additional entertainment components, kind of like we do at the NASCAR weekend. But IndyCar has really stepped up. Jay Fry, the president of IndyCar, is trying some different things on the competition side. And with that particular race, you're going to have a variety of tires. So teams are going to have to choose different tires during the race that they're going to run. So there'll be a softer compound, a mid compound. And it's going to be kind of like when you watch some of the Formula One races, you have to play those strategies where you switch tires. Well, this would be the first time this has ever been done on an oval. It's been done on road courses before, but this time the teams are going to have to strategize. Do they want to be fast early? Do they want to be fast late? How much tire wear do they want? So it's going to make it pretty exciting, and the engineers are going to really earn their money that race weekend.
Wow, that's exciting. No doubt about it. It's a big year for Worldwide Technology Raceway, as it always is, but it just feels so important for this time and place in this entire region right now for sports. We have a lot of things going for us right now, and that professional sports franchise in Madison, Illinois, 5 minutes from the Arch, is a big part of that. Worldwide Technology Raceway, the Enjoy Illinois 300, and the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, not to mention the Midwest Nationals from NHRA. Congrats on all of it. Big year coming, and we will keep in touch with you. I know race fans enjoy when you and I get together and chat. I see it out there on the social media channels, so that's good.
All right, Tom. Just remind everybody they can go to www.raceway.com to get tickets. I have to work that plug out.
Got to. www.raceway.com. And if you call the phone number, you hear my voice, I think, still.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that'll work.
You had me record. I've never done it. It was, press 1 I never got to do that before. So thanks for that opportunity. Chris Blair, thank you very much for everything. We'll wish you the best. Talk to you real soon.
All right. See you, Tom. Thank
Gray
you.
Bar Sports on a Sunday morning continues after the news.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Did you know that romance can be eco-friendly? Simply give your sweetheart an experience rather than a gift. You can plan a night on the town that includes dinner at a local restaurant, ballroom dancing, or tickets to the theater. You could also plan a couple's massage or even a hot air balloon ride. You can create a great memory without creating any physical waste. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
KMOX enters service weekend, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
For a limited time only, First Community is offering an 18-month certificate of deposit on new money that pays a 4.75% annual percentage yield. Unlike some high-risk investments, CDs are fully insured to keep your savings safe, and the return on your investment is guaranteed. Requires a $500 minimum deposit to open and 100% of funds as new funds not currently on deposit at First Community. Call 1-800-767-8880 for terms and conditions. Federally insured by NCUA.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
For garage door repair, St. Louis calls the real Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. They're the ones who've been here since 1926. Others try to copy the name, but they cannot match the level of service. The red ribbon means 94 years of trust and loyalty from St. Louis homeowners. Always look for the red ribbon. It means you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call 314-781-5200.
They say money can't buy happiness, but yes, it does. If you find $5 on the sidewalk, you're pretty happy. Now,
spine in sports. They've proven that. They've won a championship, and they probably at some point will get this organization back into position to do it again. But right now they are not even close to it. And they know that they've got to build this thing back. I mean, Armstrong just said himself that the new decade starts now. That decade is over. He said that to some reporters just the other day. Here's what I'm talking about. This is Craig Berube. Now, you've listened to Chief through the years. He tells it like it is. He speaks his mind.
A lot of guys, not a lot of our best players not doing the job.
Why do you think that's the case?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them, Jim. I guess they don't care about the team. I don't know. Our best players don't play with any passion, no emotion, and no inspiration at all. They don't play inspired hockey. You cannot play in this league without emotion, grit, and being inspired. They're getting paid lots of money, and they're not doing the job. End of story. That's it.
That's about as honest as you can get as a coach. I'm not saying that I'm supporting the coach 100%. He is the coach, and some of this goes on him too. But that's about as blatant as you can be when you call your players soft, especially your best players, which is basically what he's doing. And by the way, he wasn't the only one. He praised Alexei Toropchenko, who has joined this team and has played a style that Berube likes. Toropchenko could have let that stand on its own. He took it to another level and said this.
Even if we are not on the playoff spot, I will do everything because it's a hockey game. You cannot leave. Especially when you're playing like in the NHL, you're not playing like somewhere else on a beer league or something like that. You need to show something. You need to show character and like be strong everywhere. Just like play from your heart.
Look, you can say all you want that it's lost in translation, or he's not sure English is not his first language, so maybe it didn't come across right. But you say beer league. I mean, that's about as clear as it can be. He didn't like the way this team looked from his standpoint, and he went on to say this as well.
Especially for me, like it looks like this game was like worst of like all my life. How the team played today.
Okay, and he said this.
Especially for fans, you cannot play like that. You like I said, you need to play like. I don't know, for fans, for yourself especially, and like for everybody from the team, like because team is like just one family. It's not only about one guy, and like you need to be like the part of it and show some like respect to each other.
So who are they talking about? The high-priced players who have long-term extensions?
Kyrie Thomas, 1 assist combined.
Not good enough. Not even close.
Not even close, talking about Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas. So it's pretty clear the top players on this team are not even close, according to Craig Berube, are not playing well enough, are not playing the style of hockey that he wants them to play. This is going to be a tough decision for the Blues top level front office, because on one hand, you have some players who are under contract for a long time, are very talented, and could well turn into leaders and great players as they continue to learn the NHL. On the other hand, you have a coach, and he is not agreeing with the way that they're playing. And you also can feel friction right now between some of the players and that coach, just from the comments of Berube alone, but some other comments that have made their way out in the media as well. I'd have to think and hope that it all gets mended by the end of the year. But regardless, you have to make a decision here. If you're building a roster for 2023, 24, and beyond, what is the best thing for us to create this next quote-unquote decade that is ahead of us? And I think that's just sports and the business of sports. Who do we build this around? Are we building this around Craig Berube? And if we are, what kind of players do we have on this team? Is it the right coach? Is it the right staff? Is it the right group of players? What are we? This is where the Blues are right now, unfortunately. But all good things come to an end, and very clearly the Stanley Cup era for the Blues has come to an end. Could they rally it back quickly? Quite possibly. But it's been clear all year, really from the start, when they had the skid, and I know they came back and had a long winning streak, but it really has been a mediocre hockey team and nothing better. And they've got to find a way to get back to that championship feel. It eventually will happen. But right now, the Blues are in a very strange place, to say the least. We'll take a quick timeout, but before we do that, we have a couple of things to tell you about that are happening, including a trade that Darren Drager was first to report from TSN, and that is that the Blues have acquired a prospect for Ivan Barbashev. This is first reported by Drager. Some others have started to pick this up as well, that it is a trade for a prospect. I don't see any other information on that right now. But Barbashev, as you know, was a pending unrestricted free agent. So it was pretty well known that he was probably going to be dealt along with Vladimir Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly, who were in that same category. Tarasenko's now with the New York Rangers. O'Reilly is with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had a hat trick the other day in a 6-3 win over Buffalo. It has been tough so far for the Blues fans to watch these great Stanley Cup players depart, but it is the end of an era, basically, and the start of a new one. It's not a lot of fun when it gets down to this, but eventually in sports, especially in an NHL where salary cap restrictions are so tight, it can happen, and it can happen in a hurry. We'll see. But, I mean, you've got a lot of players that you owe money to, so it'll be not an easy situation to navigate through. I know that. We'll take a quick timeout when we come back. We'll talk to someone who has negotiated, who has navigated, and somehow has been able to win and have a winning record 15 straight seasons. That's John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations of the St. Louis Cardinals. He is next.
Who's in Florida at Cardinals Spring Training?
My name is Matt Pauley, coming your way from the T.R. Hughes Homes Broadcast Center in Jupiter. We are at the Cardinals Spring Training Complex.
Matt will keep you up to date with everything from Redbirds camp, from player interviews, what's happening on and off the field, to behind the scenes with the front office staff.
Talking with Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak.
The Gray Bar Sports Open Line, live from Cardinals Spring Training, weeknights at 6 on KMOX.
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room. Over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
Hagman for the win. Hagman got the win. St. Louis back to back comeback thrillers.
Steve Levy with that call, ABC, ESPN. It's kind of nice to have the XFL on the Disney family, as we've seen some great exposure for the XFL. The St. Louis Battlehawks. He didn't even say Battlehawks. I like how he said St. Louis. That's your football team. That's your quarterback, A.J. McCarron. If you had a criticism of the Battlehawks right now, it's where are you in the first 3.5 quarters? But whatever. They're 2-0. They've won both games. Very exciting, and this is also exciting. The Battlehawks have opened up the upper level of the dome, and the XFL is selling tickets, and I'm hearing that tickets are flying for this. The upcoming schedule for the St. Louis Battlehawks and tickets are just flying right now. So I would, if I were you, if you have not yet, I would start poking around the Battlehawks ticket site or the XFL site or the secondary market, because St. Louis City SC isn't the only hot ticket in downtown St. Louis. It sure looks like the Battlehawks are going to be a lot of fun, and fans are going to get over there, as well as Busch Stadium and as well as the Blues for the rest of this year. The fans are still loyal. They're still going to go watch some hockey. This is a lot of fun right now. here in this downtown area. A lot of sports. But I will say this, and I said it when it happened to Janae Edmondson, the young lady, the volleyball player who had her legs amputated after being hit by a reckless driver who should not have been on the road. We have to get our act together. We have to do it immediately. We have to make the decisions that make that happen, and we have to come together. I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on. This is a moment for everybody. Sports unify us, and we need to be unified in this moment as well. We've got to find a way to make St. Louis safe for our visitors. It absolutely must happen. Back with John Mozeliak after this.
Love is in the air.
It's a brand new day.
Birds are singing duets together.
And squirrels are chasing each other across the treetops.
Everyone has a twinkle in their eye.
Boom, chicka boom.
Don't let junk get in the way.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
And you'll be back to your old self again.
We've got magic in our fingertips.
And that's why everyone starts dancing.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Attention bourbon lovers, join us for a one-of-a-kind whiskey tasting event Thursday, March 2nd at the Clayton Wine House. Get ready for a night of sipping and savoring fine spirits. Samples from Redwood Empire, Old Dominic, New Riff, Green River, Garrison Brothers, Four Roses, Devil's River, and Oak and Eden. Plus, we'll enjoy Round Pond wine and appetizers. You don't want to miss this. Get your tickets now at 971talk.com/events. That's 971talk.com/events.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, joins us at 11:30. Good morning, Mo, and in Jupiter, Florida, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It felt so good to have baseball back. I watched the first inning with Chip Carey and Brad Thompson. Before that, I was in the kitchen listening to John Rooney call the first pitch because I wanted to hear the radio call. Back and forth we went between KMOX and Bally for a few hours, actually less than that, which I'll get into with you in just a minute. But I felt normal again. It's nice to have baseball back on the air.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, beautiful weather down here. It's been spectacular, and just to get it going is, I think, a welcome sign. I will say, like, the last 2 weeks to me went by super fast. I really feel like Ollie and his staff created a really efficient and productive camp. And, you know, now to be playing games, it just feels like it's just yesterday we got here, but here we are. And, you know, obviously we'll ramp up this week, and then we'll start to have some guys start heading out for the WBC by midweek. So rosters will look a little different, but I still think, you know, the work we're able to get done right now and just sort of the overall vibe of camp has been really positive.
That's great to hear. I can't wait to get down there. I'll be down there late on March 5th and start my journey there for the next 3 weeks on March 6th. And like you mentioned, there will be some players that I will not see at that time. Tommy Edman, Lars Nootbaar are going to be traveling in the World Baseball Classic, and some others will be heading out. But until then, you've been able to see them. What did you think of yesterday? A 3-2 loss to the Nationals, but you got to see a lot of your big names.
No, it was, again, just good that guys were out there. Good news, everybody came out of it feeling good. And, you know, I don't, like, obviously you'd prefer to win a game than lose a game, but, you know, these are really just exhibition games, and they're really just games to get really players' feet under them. So I wouldn't read too much into that. But, you know, overall, it's the guys feel really good about where they are. I think, you know, you're going to see a lot of Nolan and Goldie this week because they're trying to ramp up for the WBC. So, you know, by the time you're down here in a week, you know, there'll be a few faces around, but yes, this roster will look a little bit different.
Yep. Today you're going to start Jordan Walker out in left field. That should be a lot of fun to see him. He got a little bit of action yesterday. Now he gets a start, as you'll see a lot of Jordan Walker throughout this Grapefruit League, won't you?
Yeah, I would think so. You know, obviously we have a a young group of talented players that are going to get a lot more exposure this year for a variety of reasons, and one being the WBC. But I love that. I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're a prospect hawk, there's going to be a lot of things to watch down here, and should make for a very fun camp.
Yeah, it'll be fun. The names in here, you and I have talked about a lot of them. Yepes, Gorman, Walker, Burleson. They're all in the lineup today, among others. Tyler O'Neill playing in center field. What are you feeling about Tyler as he embarks on this 23 season? You kind of feel like, I hate using this term, it's somewhat overused, but he is an X factor, I think, for you, isn't he?
Well, as I stated, the reason we didn't go outside the organization to fill some what were perceived as needs is because we believe the talent is in our clubhouse, and I would accept or agree that Tyler has to be the Tyler of 2021 and not the Tyler of 2022 for us to be ultimately successful. But I'll tell you, he had a really good offseason. He worked really hard being in St. Louis. We've talked about him before this offseason about his drive and really wanting to establish himself. And I think he's prepared himself really well so far. And again, camp is we're in game 2 of 5 more weeks of this. But overall, I'd have to say he seems like he's in a really good mindset.
Waino pitched 2 innings yesterday. Looked good from what I could tell. Jake Woodford had 2 scoreless frames. Cabrera, Naughton, Thompson, they all got a little action. Nail and Whitley. But I was really focused on 2 things. One, Contreras behind the plate with those pitchers, and also the pitch timer. What did you think of the first go-round of the pitch timer at this major league level?
Well, my fingers are crossed that yesterday is not an outlier. In other words, obviously, you hope there are no infractions where you're getting a called strike or a called ball. You want it to work. And yesterday there were 2. But overall, I mean, the pace of the game was exactly what you'd hope for. And so, I kind of throw the question more back to you sitting at home. Did you notice the difference? Because I did make my way around the ballpark yesterday, had a lot of different people visiting. And so, every place I went, of course, the questions were, what do you think of the clock? And then there were other people that didn't even realize there was a clock, but yet everybody was sort of impressed with, the quickness of play or the crispness of play. So, I got to say, I thought yesterday was like a home run when it comes to what you hoped would be accomplished. And when you look at even, scores or more importantly, maybe times around the Grapefruit League and out in Arizona, it appears it's working. So, net, I thought yesterday was a tremendous success.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it back to me as a consumer yesterday, I did notice it, and I did think that it made a difference. I noticed that the hitters were in there quicker, the pitches were coming quicker. I did notice it, and then I noticed that Bally was actually putting the clock on the lower right-hand part of the screen. So as a viewer, and I don't know if they'll do that all year or not, but you could sort of learn along and watch the different times, 20 seconds when there's a runner on, 15 seconds when the bases are empty, 30 between hitters, all that stuff. You could see that. I do notice that. And the point is not to make a shorter game necessarily, although that is part of the goal, but also more action, right, Mo? I mean, when it comes to the shift and those rules too?
Yeah, so I think the ball and play model, obviously this game is becoming a game of absolutes, right? You either hit a home run, swing and miss, that kind of thing. And so what you're hoping to do is with the shift, maybe create a few more base hits. I think one thing we didn't really see come into play yesterday, so it'll be sort of fun to see how it sort of unfolds in camp is, the 2 pickoff moves to first or to any base really. But ultimately you should be increasing stolen bases or stolen base attempts. And so I think that also could be something that's exciting. But I do think the fact is when you look at yesterday's game, there wasn't just that sort of dead time of pitchers just stepping off, slow pick to first. You know what I mean? So I felt like those sort of nuances were working. And so yeah, when you think about all the different rule changes, you got to remind yourself these are bigger bases. You got the 2 pickoffs to the bases. You have the pitch clocks. And you really need to say clocks because, to your point, there are different times. And I do hope Bally's keeps that up because it's a nuance of the game that we all have to become more cognizant of. So anyway, I thought again it was fun to watch, and as I walked out of the ballpark yesterday, I was heard a lot of positives on it. So baseball fans hate change, but I would say overall, I think people are pretty excited.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, I mean, it is going to be applied. If anyone's wondering, in a bottom of the ninth situation or a postseason game or World Series, rules are the rules. I mean, it is going to be that they're not going to be lax on this necessarily.
Yeah, that's what you hope for, right? I mean, I know there was a lot of sort of Twitter explosion on that Braves Red Sox game, but those are the rules. Like you can't change it just because it's the ninth inning. So yeah, I kind of thought that was funny, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it'll be an adjustment for sure. Look, I don't want to get anyone in trouble here and any fines or anything, but did you have any comment whatsoever on what happened at the end of that beginning of that game between Ollie Marmol and CB Bucknor?
Well, I'll say this, that obviously the integrity of baseball always has to be first and foremost, right? And what you don't want to have happen is where you feel there's grudges or biases on either side. Right. I mean, you have to be careful on what you say about umpires and what they do and what they do for the game. But umpires themselves also have to be careful on their actions and how those are interpreted. So I'm hopeful that we can resolve all this and have it behind us as we continue our march through the Grapefruit League. But again, I think there's a way to solve this, and hopefully we can do that.
I appreciate that. When it comes to pitching, give us a little whip around the rotation, just kind of what you viewed here during workouts, and overall how you feel about, we're going to see them eventually in games, but Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery, Steven Matz, and then today's starter, Miles Mikolas.
Yeah, and just throw Dakota in there for this conversation.
Yeah.
All those guys are are progressing well. We feel pretty good about where they all are. And, so you're going to definitely see those guys in games within the week. And then even a guy like Connor Thomas has been throwing the ball really well. Matt Libator's been throwing the ball really well. So, right now I feel really confident about where those guys are. And, it's early. I'm knocking on wood. My fingers are crossed because we're a long way to opening day at this point, but I would say overall, I think the group feels really good about where those guys are at.
All right, looking forward to that. That happens today. Miles Mikolas is very close to that, and I know that John Mozeliak needs to get to the game, so we appreciate these 10 minutes very much. Thank you for being with us on KMOX as always. We got a game coming up at noon, 12:10 start.
All right. Well, thank you. And look forward to seeing you next week.
I look forward to being there. There's John Mozeliak, president of baseball operations of the St. Louis Cardinals. It's 11:42. The Cardinals and the Marlins today here on KMOX. Quick break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention to other sports, including the game of golf. We have not forgotten about you, and an update on an event here in St. Louis. Plus, we'll take a look at the PGA Tour next.
Did you know that St. Louis composting is open all year long? It may be winter, but it's the perfect time to start planning for next spring's bountiful garden and lawn. For more information, visit stlcompost.com.
The ultimate tribute to the Beatles brings you their best show ever. The Fab Four live. The Fab Four performs the Beatles' Rubber Soul in its entirety, plus all the Beatles' greatest hits. Don't miss the show for the whole family. Witness the best Beatles show in the world. Saturday, October 21st, the Family Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.
John Michael Montgomery. Live. The multiple Grammy, CMA, and ACM award winner. John Michael Montgomery with McBride and the Ride. Friday, October 20th at the Family Arena. Reserved seats are on sale now at the Carroll House box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. John Michael Montgomery, live in concert.
At Neovitin, our goal is to create safe, dependable multivitamins to support your everyday nutrition when you need it most. That's why we've formulated Neovitin 50 plus multivitamins with 20 daily ingredients, including B vitamins for energy support, vitamin C for immune support, and Dr. Abicki's 4-ingredient proprietary blend that you won't find in any other multivitamins. Neovitin 50 plus multivitamins come in 2 specifically designed formulas to help support your nutritional needs. Neovitin Men's 50 plus multivitamin for men 50 and older, and Neovitin Women's 50 plus multivitamin for women 50 and older. With a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot, you can be sure you are getting quality nutritional support with Neovitin. Support your best life today with Neovitin 50 plus multivitamins. Available at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online with our easy-to-use monthly subscriptions at neovitin.com. That's neovitin.com. neovitin.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Goldschmidt swings and he hits a drive. He hits a slammer.
Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs.
Billikens win! Billikens win!
Once again, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, Tom Ackerman.
Just got off the phone with John Mozeliak, the Cardinals president of baseball operations in Jupiter, Florida. Right in that area, Palm Beach Gardens, the Honda Classic is taking place at PGA National, and your leader going into Sunday is Chris Kirk. Shot a 66 yesterday. So did Eric Cole, each with a 66, but Kirk leads Cole by 2 shots going into the final round today. I always show up at spring training too late to get to the Honda Classic, but one of these years I'll swing down there, that's for sure. I've really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of the Netflix series Full Swing. What a cool behind the scenes that is of the PGA Tour. Really have enjoyed that. Has our guest watched that? This is Nick Ragone of Ascension joining us on KMOX. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Tommy, absolutely. I have Chad Munn, the executive producer who created the series, is a good friend of mine, so I've been texting him. And I think it's awesome. I was actually with Commissioner Jay Monahan, the PGA Tour commissioner, on Thursday and Friday. We had a meet at the stadium course in Ponte Vedra, to talk business, but 2 weeks before the players. And he said the Netflix series has been a boon. It's brought in a whole new, in the first couple of weeks, a whole new set of eyeballs of people who aren't regular watchers of the PGA Tour, aren't avid golfers. And it's great. Jay and I were talking about the importance of growing the game, and he complimented St. Louis again. He said over and over again, the model that you guys have chosen about putting a tournament in North St. Louis County, partnering with the APJ, keeping all the proceeds in the area. He said that's a way to grow it. And the tour is trying to find ways to reach new audiences. And I think the Netflix series, if anyone hasn't seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic.
It is so good. I'm through 2 episodes. The first episode was Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. I'm not going to give it away, but they're 2 longtime friends / rivals / competitors going back to when they were little kids, and watching them behind the scenes. So cool. Like, I've always been a Justin Thomas guy and Jordan Spieth. I really like them both. So seeing them behind the scenes, and it's the little profanity sprinkled in, like, it's real. And it's just so good. And then the second episode, Brooks Koepka, who, I don't feel
fascinating.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel as warmly towards Koepka, but now after watching that, I don't know. I kind of I feel for him a little bit.
He shows a different side of him for sure. And I think that's what they wanted to do. Was even JT and Jordan, I've known their relationship for years. They played junior golf together, but to see them spending time together and being a bit more candid, and just how they have a brotherly frenemy sort of relationship. I mean, they're competitors, but they're best friends. But the Brooks Koepka episode is really interesting because he reveals vulnerabilities you never see. I mean, when he won the PGA at Bellerive in 2018, famously, it went on a tear. I mean, he won 4 majors in a couple of years, and he seemed invincible. And then you get a look behind the scenes, and you see, they're even the best in the world, like Brooks and these other guys. There's a fragility to golf. Tommy, you're a golfer. It's such a fragile sport, and it's played on the 6 inches between your ears, and that's what you see in this series.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, and Koepka has dealt with some injuries. There's no doubt that played a part, but I think the biggest thing in terms of his health right now is between the ears, and that's where he's trying to get it back. A confidence thing is lacking there, and it happens in sports. We've seen it with the best of the best, haven't we?
We have, even it brings to mind David Duvall, who I've gotten to know. He played in our event last year, the Charity Classic, and turned 50 and is committed to playing on the Champions Tour. And at one time in the world was number one in the world during the Tiger era. When Tiger was at his height, Duvall knocked him off. I mean, he won like 11 times in 3 or 4 years, won the British Open, and then famously lost it. And golf's a sport like that. It's fickle. And we've seen it throughout history. Guys lose it, and it's hard to get it back. Sometimes it happens. Jordan Spieth lost it. He got it back. And then there's other guys that don't get it back. Even Justin Leonard, he was a great player, and then it sort of slowed down, and now he's back out on the Champions Tour, and he had a T4, I think, last week, and the week that Bernard Langer won. And so golf is great in that you could play it competitively. Look at Langer. He won at age 64. He tied Hale Irwin's record, 45 wins, and he's still going strong. I mean, it's such a wonderful sport that at that age, you could still compete at the most elite levels.
This is Nick Ragone of Ascension. The Ascension Charity Classic is headed for its third event this September. It's part of PGA Tour Champions. You've heard Nick on the show. You've heard his advertising campaign running on our stations. And certainly it's an exciting time for St. Louis with a lot of sports going on here. I mean, now soccer's arrived on the scene. Football is back. Sports fans are fired up, aren't they?
I mean, it doesn't get any better. Even yesterday, just having the Blues cards and soccer on one day, and you're right. And we have the XFL, we have NASCAR, we have golf. Not only do we have golf, but we went from having no PGA Tour properties in 2018, the PGA of America did Bellerive, to 3, the President's Cup, the BMW, and the Charity Classic. And, I've been here 10 years. You know this, Tommy. I'm a New York transplant. There's no better sport. And you guys know this already. I know it now. Missouri's home, St. Louis is home. But there's no better part of the country for supporting homegrown sports than St. Louis, and I just love it. And I feel like I'm just tickled that the Charity Classic has been able to play a very small part in that, but an important part of making sure that our fans, our region, know that we have the best sports in the country and people support it.
How do you do it? How do you, year after year, come up with something creative or new you have to keep giving them something new, don't you? Or something different, throw them at something else to keep them coming, don't you?
Absolutely do. And the secret is having a great team, and I'm blessed with that. I like to joke that I take credit for other people's work, but it's Steve Spratt and Tim Heitman, Alonzo Bird, Dan Sullivan, a whole bunch of people. And last year we created the APJ, our second event, the Advocates PGA Tour, which is really a developmental tour for African-American players. And this year we're moving our APJ event up till August, so it gets its own kind of slot. Last year we did it the same week as the Charity Classic, so we're moving it up. And we're looking at some new wrinkles. We're going to do a blues versus cards thing in our Legends Challenge, and you're going to be a part of that. And we're also we're trying to add a concert this year. I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull it off for this year or next year. We're still working on the pieces of that. But you're right, though. You need to keep making it better and better every year. It's not just the number I look at is charity raised, right? At the end of the day, we went from $250,000 our first year without an event to $800,000 to $1.3 million last year. And we need to keep increasing that because charities rely on it. It changes people's lives.
It was a big deal that Emerson said they're sticking around, wasn't
it? A huge deal. I mean, I want to just commend Emerson's leadership is paramount to this community. I mean, they really are a pillar. And I've gotten to know Law, the CEO over there, and he's a wonderful guy and a great supporter of the Charity Classic. They were they were our presenting sponsor. The first day we launched this, the first call I made was to Emerson, and they were on board. And I've gotten to know them really well. And it's really, really important that they're staying in the region, that they're committed to giving back. Their charitable giving is focused really on diversity, equity, and inclusion and education, particularly in North St. Louis County. And, we're blessed that we have Emerson as our presenting sponsor. We have Worldwide as a founding partner. You can't get two better companies than that. And if you want to know about what great corporate citizenship looks like, you don't need to look any further than Emerson and Worldwide. Yeah. And the state of Missouri, by the way, Missouri Tourism has been a valuable partner. They view the Charity Classic, Tom, and you know this, as a celebration of all of Missouri for the week. It's Charity Classic week, and our lieutenant governor has been a great supporter of it, as has many other in Jefferson City. And they view it as really important on help selling to the rest of the country why this region is so good.
That's a good point. You're not messing around in these press conferences when you have at the game week or the tournament week, Mike Parson, the governor, is there. Mike Kehoe, the lieutenant governor, is there. I've seen the city politician, State Senator Brian Williams, a big part of it. Tashara Jones has been there in the past. You are trying to make this bigger than a sports event.
Well, absolutely are. And, you ticked off some supporters, but, Brian Williams, Senator Williams, who, by the way, is a wonderful man and a new father. Brian, the APJ event wouldn't happen without Brian. He made that happen. And the Lieutenant Governor and Governor Parson and the mayor have all been instrumental because they see the win for our region, right? We're telling the rest of the country, you remember, it's 9 hours of live coverage on the Golf Channel. And we're saying we're open for business. We're open for tourism. We want you to relocate here. We want you to play here and work here. And I think the last 2 years on the Golf Channel, the coverage has been a love letter to our region.
Wow. All that said, you have to have a great field. And you have to have big names and big players. You know that. You've gone after them. You've landed a whole bunch of them. What can you tell us about the future of this tournament and players?
You know, we have so the biggest name coming out this year is Stuart Sink, who won when he was 49 on the big tour, and he's actually playing the best golf of his life. If you remember, Stuart Sink won the famous 2009 British Open, beating Tom Watson in that playoff at Turnberry. So he'll be in our field. He's a Ascension brand ambassador, and he like Padraig Harrington, he comes out. He's gonna try to dominate. I think he's one of those guys that's coming playing the best golf of his life. And then Justin Leonard is going to play full time. He'll be back in the field. Nota Begay the third, who's a good buddy of Tiger Woods, 4-time winner on the tour. He'll be out here. And then, you know, we're still working on the one that I want to land is Freddie. You know, the first 2 years, Freddie has not been in the field. He's really the only player that hasn't been. He won last year. He shot 60 in the final round in the fall. And so we really want Freddie to be in the field. And I'll tell you one interesting storyline, Tom. So Bernhard Langer won 2 weeks ago. He got his 45th win. He tied Hale Irwin for the most wins ever on the Champions Tour. And he wants to break that record. It'd be interesting if he was chasing that record the week of the Charity Classic. Obviously, Hale has been a big part of this tournament. He helped us launch it. He's, you know, called St. Louis home for 30 years. And it'd be interesting if Bernhard tries to chase that record here in St. Louis.
Let me throw one more at you. And 1 minute to go before we turn it over to the Cardinals. He just turned 47. So did I. In July, he turned 47 in December. That's why I've followed him my whole life, because we're the same age. He is Eldrick Woods, known as Tiger. He is, by my account, here 2.5 years away from becoming eligible for the PGA Tour Champions. Do we have a shot at landing him at this tournament?
We have a really good shot. I'll tell you, I don't know if I told you, but I spoke with Tiger directly about 3 months ago at the PGA Tour Partners meeting for about 5 to 7 minutes with Jay Monahan, and Rory was looking on. And Tiger asked me about the event. I said, oh, it's in St. Louis. He goes, where? I said, Norwood Hills. He knew Norwood Hills. He goes, what time of year? I said, September. He goes, oh, it's perfect. My allergies won't bother me. He goes, I love St. Louis. He said one of the best experiences he ever had was the Bellerive in 2018. And I said, well, Tiger, you know, in 3.5 years, we'll have your cart ready. And he immediately corrected me at the time. And he said 3.2 years. And he goes, absolutely have my cart ready. And so I looked at Commissioner Monahan. I said, I think Tiger committed. So we're going to take that as a yes. And so I've been trying to gently remind Jay and the other people in Tiger's orbit that he is committed to it. And I'll tell you this, if you saw him play at the Genesis, he hits the balls as well as anybody. He had 180-mile ball speed. He was driving it past JT and a few times past Rory. So he can hit it. His problem is it's difficult for him to walk. And I think when he gets that cart at 50, he's still going to be competitive. He's going to still be hitting the ball. He's still going to want to win. I think he's going to play a full-time schedule on the Champions Tour. I really do.
Wow. And the brand will elevate once again. Tiger Woods. We hope that happens. Nick Ragone, thanks for the visit.
Thank you, Tommy.
Cardinal Baseball is next.
KMOX celebrates Black History Month, honoring Black icons.
Sidney Poitier was a Bahamian American actor, director, and diplomat. Poitier was the first Black man to receive an Academy Award for Best Actor. Poitier's skills as an actor opened the door for many subsequent actors who wanted to mirror him. Many of the roles Sidney Poitier portrayed shook up the status quo, challenging the roles that were typically assigned to African American actors.
KMOX celebrating Black artists, athletes, and trailblazers all month long. More at KMOX.com.
When you have an electrical emergency, call Reinhold Electric right away. They answer their phone 24 hours a day to make sure they can get your power on and stay on as quickly as possible. If you are planning some changes, maybe you're doing a remodel or maybe building brand new, Reinhold Electric works with residential, commercial, and industrial. Having a small electrical issue with your house or maybe your electric panel, call on Reinhold Electric to come inspect it. Their number 314-631-1158, online at reinholdelectric.com.
As America's largest injury firm, we have advantages few others do. Our results and reputation are well